Hi guys, this is part 17 of the series I've been doing after the accident. Anyway, this is an update. Today so far has not been a good day. I got some really bad news today, this morning. The shop called me where my truck has been sitting. It's been sitting there for about 3 weeks. Unfortunately, they didn't open up a ticket until recently. Anyway, the bad news is the truck, and you saw me in the first videos I did after the accident. I was in my truck. There's too much wrong. There's a lot of stuff wrong with the truck. The mechanic also said something about some speed sensors and possibly a transmission replacement or overhaul. Anyway, the biggest issue, however, and he won't even touch the work. He said it's not worth it. It's not worth it. He said I should just take the money and buy something else. After everything he told me, I agree. The main reason is once he got underneath, the underneath was so rusted that he can't even attempt the work because he's afraid that the truck it's so rusted, it'll literally just fall apart. So today was it's been an emotional, it's kind of a bad day, an emotional day. Obviously my little Ford Focus is totaled. My truck is now down for the count. It's out. I think I've shared this before. The 2006 Taurus won't run. The other car I have is also, my ex-husband's currently trying to drive it, but it too is in really bad shape. It's basically on its last leg. It lost a cylinder. It's like got one dead cylinder. It's out. Luckily I do have another car, but I really like to have backup, and this year has been I started out, I think, at the beginning of 2020 with COVID, and then was sick for months. And then now this. I pretty much lost every vehicle. I went through 5 vehicles this year, and pretty much they're all, this will be my 5th vehicle, and all the rest of them I've pretty much lost. They're gone, and so it's been a really just a really emotional day. I pretty much lost. I won't say I hate to say it, but I pretty much lost everything this year. I did sell some property. That was the upside. Then, of course, one car after the other just went, either being mostly breakdowns, but then wrecked. The Ford Focus wrecked, and now my truck, the cars, just all gone this year. And so it's been a really emotional, tough year. Aside from that, the house that the house in the area that I do business in or stay in some of the time, so far, I live on a boat, so far that is okay. Of course, the boat has been out for modification and service for quite a while now, but with the upcoming MRI that I have to have from after the accident and the physical therapy they're going to schedule me for. I finally talked to someone today, and they're going to schedule my MRI, my physical therapy. That's not possible. I can't even do that in the Outer Banks where I live because it's too far away. It's like a 2-hour drive to the nearest facility. So I have to stay at the house belonging to my ex-husband and I. Anyway, I got quite a bit of bad news about that this year as well. I found out the property management company didn't do their job. And hi guys, I'm back. A phone call came through and it kicked me off. I'm glad I didn't keep talking. Anyway, this year has been a really bad. It's just been a bad year all the way around. As I was saying, the house, I found out the property management company didn't do their job, didn't clean the gutters. That led to some leakage and some rot on the side of the wall of the house. Anyway, it needs new siding. There was just some work on the carport they didn't even tell me about. They just patched it up. All total, that I got like a bill for close to $10,000 on that, which I just don't have. The property that I sold won't even come close to that. It has to cover my dad's debt. It was in probate, so it had to cover my dad. That has to cover my dad's debt, as well as cover my dad's debt and what I got, because one of the pieces of property was in really bad shape. Just basically, I had to sell to investors, and obviously, you're not going to make any money selling to an investor. I should know. That's kind of what I do. Well, not what I do, but I work with my uncle and his business partners. And I'm not going to talk about that now. Not my work. I will talk about my work later. Anyway, I'm at a truck stop right now. It's kind of noisy. Anyway, I've been just trying to stay at the house when my ex-husband, off and on. I was in my car and trying to stay and at his house some. But as I've stated in previous videos, he's an alcoholic. When he's drinking, he's just toxic. There's no other way to put it. He's not a bad person, but he is an alcoholic, and it is a difficult situation. So that's basically, so I was in my car, and finally I decided to go out on just take a little trip, it's kind of one of those situations where it doesn't matter if I stay there and sleep at the truck stop closest to the house, or I just take off and go to a rest area or truck stop someplace else. Anyway, and then the final thing I found out about the house, on top of the $10,000 for the siding and carport repair, the furnace stopped working, and most like they needed to do a safety check or something, because they believe it was putting out carbon monoxide poisoning. Anyway, I still got to get that done. I don't know if it's repairable. They said it might be, but probably not. I've had one replaced like that before. That's another $5,000, $6,000 bucks. So I'm looking at $15,000 on the house alone to do work. All my cars are out. I have as of right now, I'm back down to what I was before. I have this one vehicle, and I have no backup. I do not like to not have any backup as far as a vehicle goes. The one car, I believe it has an engine issue. I'm not sure. It is a much older car. I'm not sure if it would be worth fooling with. I don't know, but I will. It's not a huge diagnostic fee. They said they don't. They're only charging me like $48 for the diagnostic that they did on the truck. So it would only be about that, a little less than $50 to do a diagnostic on the one Taurus. Right now, I'm just debating, because there's really nothing in this area to be had for less than $8,000 or $9,000, and I don't want to buy another vehicle that's just going to be full of an older vehicle with a ton of miles. It's just going to be full of problems. And right now, I can't shell out another $10,000 on a vehicle. I can't. So I would be looking at minimum $3,000 for, if I could even find one in this area. Probably not. I'd have to do a lot of searching to find something that would fit within that price range. In this area is a very pricey area, and I think I've talked about this before. This, unfortunately, is a really, really pricey area that I'm in right now. Well, right now I'm in someplace else. I'm in South Carolina, but the area where the house is located, it's a very pricey area. The area where I live on my boat is also a very pricey area. They're both very touristy. One is on the coast, one is not, but they're both very touristy areas. So right now I got a lot of thinking to do. I've got to decide whether I want to take a risk, take that other car in, see what's going on with it, and whether I'm prepared for more bad news. I know that the bad news, I know it's coming. Either the car's going to quit, or going to stop running altogether, or I'm going to take it and he's going to be able to figure out what's wrong with it. And possibly fix it. I don't know. Right now I'm down to one car. Which is better than nothing. It's better than nothing. I have the one car, but I definitely, I like to have backup. I'm familiar with, I went through this. This isn't the first rodeo I've been on where something happens, the car has to go in for a little while, it has to be worked on. You know, sometimes that can take a few days, you know, and in that time you got nothing. I mean, that's just not a situation I like. Of course, if I'm on the road, it wouldn't matter. I'd have to stay in a motel for a few days until they fixed it. Luckily, in the past, I've never had that issue. Generally, they could get it fixed, and generally they could fix it in the one day I was there, or the car was drivable and they could just break it down and fix it. You know, I'd take it in every day or every couple days and get work done on it. Once or twice I did have to stay overnight at a motel, but nothing ever really that took that much time. I could usually get the work done on one day or two at the most, and didn't have to spend more than a night in a motel when I was on the road. But anyway, today is another just a bad day. Bad day all the way around. I also talked to the insurance company. They told me that, you know, and I've never had this issue before. I've never faced this before, but the insurance company basically left me hanging and told me that I had to be responsible for moving the vehicle. I called the tow yard where the vehicle is located, and they told me that as of right now, there's over $1,400 in storage fees, and basically told me I'd have to be responsible. Finally, I asked the guy if there was any way, you know, because the insurance company told me it was my responsibility. I was going to have to move the car. It was my responsibility. I had to move the car, and, you know, whatever. They're not going to be responsible. So, whatever. So I called the tow yard, and he told me, like I said, it's $1,400 right now, probably about $1,500 now with storage fees. He did say that he could let it go for $150 plus the title, if I brought the title. Unfortunately, I don't have the title. The loan company, the car, unfortunately, did still have a loan on it. Not much left, but a little bit. Anyways, so I can't do either thing. I'm not paying. I can't pay the $1,400. I can't pay the $1,400. Another phone call. I can't pay the $1,400, and I can't go collect it for $150. The title, I don't have the title. The loan company has that. So basically, the tow yard told me that they'll have to be responsible for paying the tow bill. As of right now, since the car does still have a loan, I'm not going to get anything on the vehicle, period. It's that simple. I'm not going to get anything. Whatever the insurance company pays will go back to the loan company. It's that simple. So I'm not going to get anything out of the car. And I didn't expect that I would get anything as far as the car goes. Anyway, I kind of saw that coming, but regardless of all that, I mean, I don't even see what the purpose would be of me paying $150, because honestly, why would I why would I pay $150? Why would I pay anything? Why would I pay anything in storage fee to get the car out? It's completely totaled. It's nothing but metal, scrap metal, and and that's, I mean, and I'm still emotional about my car, because I mean, I loved that little car. I'd had it, I'd had it a long time. I had been driving it almost exclusively. There were times I would get out of it and I would drive one of my Tauruses, but then that Taurus, so I don't know what's wrong with it. It just kaput, started having a theft flight issue about a year ago, and it went to the shop and it stayed there for 9 months and 8 months, and then the dealership says, oh no, we can't figure your car out, and oh, we're sorry, it won't start, but here's your $900 bill. I mean, that's just, it's ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. So this year has been a lot of loss, and I mean, and on top of all that, I'm in pain. I'm having back pain from the accident. I'm having numbness in my back, numbness in my hands. And then the insurance company's basically like, oh, I got to talk to everybody before I decide who I'm going to charge, I'm going to, who I'm going to stick with the liability of the accident. Okay, so some douchebag stops in the middle of the freaking interstate for some tire tread instead of just going around it or running over it, and my car smashed all to pieces. I'm in pain, hands are numb, legs are numb, and here I am. I can't even hold my phone without my hand getting numb. And boom, all the insurance company, of course, can think of, and that's their job. That's their job, to try to stick somebody else with the liability. It's their job to try to stick the fault on someone else. That's their job. You know, if they can stick the fault on someone else, then they don't have to pay the bill. But never mind. I mean, I understand that maybe the tractor trailer driver, I mean, obviously they can't stop, but was he maintaining enough distance? I don't even know. It happened so fast. You know, I don't even know. And could he have been maintaining more of a distance? Yeah, probably. I understand that Charlotte, North Carolina is a really busy area to drive through, and he probably had a deadline to make, but you make that deadline at what? At the cost of others? Anyway, so yeah, I'm in a little bit of a emotional state today. I'm you know, I find out from the insurance company. First off, I know that the car, they're not going to pay anything on my car. That, or anything they do pay, I know they're not going to probably pay anything. And then whatever they do pay will go to the loan company. So I already know that. But I mean, I'm not even going to get enough out of it to even get anything, probably. I mean, she hasn't finished her work, so I don't know really what's going to happen, except that they're telling me that I got to move the car. Well, since it's in the still got a loan on it, the tow yard told me then it's the loan company, it's the bank's responsibility to move the vehicle. So if they want to collect, I'm guessing if they want to collect anything from the insurance company on the total loss of the car, then they're going to have to pay the tow bill. Anyway, so that's something else I got to do. I got to touch base with those guys and, you know, let them know, you know, that, you know, if they want the car or they want, you know, then they're going to have to, pay the tow bill. Anyway, I think, you know, I don't want to keep blundering and blabbering on. It's been such a, today was emotional, and a lot of, you know, just not a good day. And, you know, on top of that, I still have some, I don't know if this is directly related to COVID or not. I know I still have some residual effects. I have eye floaters. I have issues with that. And I don't know if that's from early on when I had COVID. I don't know. Anyway, what I do know is right now, I was planning on today. I've been planning for 2 or 3 days to go back to a church out here that's supposedly haunted, and I've been planning on doing that for a few days now. And I just kind of got stuck. Not really stuck, just kind of dragging. You know, after the accident, I have been moving. I don't want to say I've been moving. I have been. I guess you could say I have been moving slower. There before the accident, there were periods when there would be lulls and I would move slower, and then I'd pick up speed, I'd move slower, you know, but it came in bouts. But since the accident, which was about a month ago, I've just been moving slower. I just have not been moving like I need to. I'm in a situation right now, obviously, I was going to do a video yesterday, and I didn't get around to it. This car is obviously, it's not, I had to buy I just had to buy something, but obviously it isn't the best car for, it's a great travel car. It handles and rides really, really well, so it's great there. But as far as a sleeping setup, I have not figured out anything that's good for with this car yet. It just isn't that great. Could be worse. It could be worse. It definitely does not sleep as well as my Chevy Impala did or my Ford Taurus. Definitely not. The downside, of course, with the Taurus and the Impala both, where I couldn't put the seats down. I had to sleep in the front seat, but this one has such a small trunk, I haven't even been able to figure out how to make a bed or any kind of a sleeping arrangement in the trunk yet. So that's that. I'm not, and I'm pretty sure that's probably not good for my back. The doctor thinks I may have some disc issues, and I know that's not good for it. But right now, you know, I can't say that, you know, I'm on the road. I'm basically living on the road right now, and at least until I get my physical therapy, MRI, some of the medical stuff done, the boat. I mean, I don't even know. I haven't really talked to my landlord. I haven't had time, so I don't know if the boat is out of repair and from the well, he was getting repair and modifications. I know he was doing a lot of modifications, so I don't even know if it's done with the mods yet. There was a lot of stuff he wanted to do, so I don't even know if that is even finished yet. My hand's getting really tired, really numb. I know I should probably try to find myself some kind of a little, I don't know, a stand or something I could put my phone on. That would probably work really well. I could put it on my dashboard or set it someplace where, you know, maybe next to the shifter or something, you know, so I wouldn't have to hold the phone. I haven't figured that one out yet. I've just been doing my videos like this, and I haven't really figured anything out on that yet. I will. But anyway, I just got a lot on my plate right now. So, like I said, I was going to post about this yesterday, because I think yesterday I actually didn't really do much. This truck stop it's under construction, and it's really, really crowded. Every day I go in, it's just super crowded with people traveling. And then yesterday I changed clothes. I came back to the car, and I was just really tired. I uploaded some stuff to the cloud, and then I was really tired, and I went to sleep. I slept for like, I don't know, 3 or 4 hours, and I actually think the driver's seat sleeps a little better. I think it does. But I don't want to adjust the way the steering wheel. It's got a telescopic steering wheel, and the shifter the adjuster is down underneath like it was on my Focus, and I don't really want to be fiddling with that every single day. I don't. So I prefer the passenger seat. My one complaint with the passenger seat, actually, I think the seat covers don't slip around as much on the passenger seat. I talked about this in a previous video. I put some non-stick shelf liner on it, so I don't think on both seats, but I got more of it on the passenger, and I don't think it shifts around quite as bad. The one gripe I have is there's no lumbar support button on the passenger side, so I can't really adjust that. Last night I did put a comforter over the seat. I think that helped a little bit. Was a little more comfortable. At least it covered up the seat belt mechanism so that my butt didn't hit it. Whatever. Right now I want to say, right now, my situation is not really, it's not really choice right now. It's not. I mean, yeah, I do like to go out on road trips. I love to go on little road trips, but the way things are right now, if I had a choice, I definitely probably would not be out on the road. I would probably be at home. I would just stay at home and go out on maybe a day road trip, take pictures, and that's it, and return at night. At the most, I would go out and only be gone a day or so, maybe. Maybe a few days, maybe a week. At the most. That would all depend on how I felt, probably. But right now, I mean, I like being on the road. Don't get me wrong, I love it. But right now, I'm in, with the sleeping arrangement, the vehicle, being in pain, having numbness, it's just not a real comfortable situation right now. So if I had my choice, I'd probably stay at home and go out on little day trips, or 2-day trips, or like a weekend trip, but that's it. I wouldn't be trying to do it full time, or I wouldn't. But right now, this is where I'm at. It's not really a situation I'm happy with, but right now there's not a lot I can do. And that brings me to my last point. I had actually started to consider, before the accident, I was planning on selling the truck, and then when I had the accident, I kind of figured, okay, that'll be my backup. Well, that's gone. That old idea has been shot down. But before that, I had actually toyed with the idea of putting a camper on the back of the truck. It's an older truck, but I had put a, had considered putting like a canopy on the back, a topper or canopy, and making the bed into the truck bed into like a little sleeping area, and doing something with that. Well, that idea is all shot. So pretty much everything, any ideas so far that I have had they've just been shot down. And this past year it's come in spades. It's just not been, it could have been a worse year, but it could have been a worse year. I did get a few months this year with my Ford Focus. But this year's been, start of the year was COVID. By summertime, I was living with my ex-boyfriend, and by summertime, Dylan, and I've talked about this in the past as well, by summertime, living with him and tolerating his behavior, he just wanted to be in control of everything, and I guess he lived alone for so long. I guess he just didn't know how to live with someone else. I don't know. Combine that with, and he was possessive, and he just wanted everything. He wanted everything on his timeline. He wanted us to be able to go to work at the same time. Things that were just unreasonable. He wanted us to be able to go to work at the same time, be home at the same time, me be there when he got there, just unreasonable expectations. Combine that with the fact that he has a very aggressive African gray parrot that simply flogged me almost daily, pecked my head, almost put my eyes out more than once. That by summertime I had about all I could tolerate of his behavior and the parrot's behavior, and he could not control the bird, and he refused, and he refused to cage the bird, and and that just got to be just such a problem. It was fighting my ex-boyfriend's behavior, fighting the bird's behavior, it just got to a point where I finally left and said, you know what, I'm just gonna go and be in my car for a while, Ford Focus or no. But I knew I wasn't gonna be in the car that long. I figured I'd be in the car for a little bit, and then I would, go, I'd go home, I'd go back to my boat. But then sometime during the summer, I think it was summer, sometime during that time, my landlord decided that the boat needed some repair, and it did need a few things, I think. He's very, very proactive. Thankfully, he's very, very proactive at doing any repairs that it needs. And then while he was at it, he decided to do some modifications, and that helps. It does make the boat look better. It makes it look more homey, and I know that that I'm going to enjoy that a lot more. One of the reasons I'm out on the road as much as I am is partly work. My work does keep me out on the road a lot. Some of that time, I really don't want to go on my work. I will just say this. My work keeps me out on the road a lot, and when I'm out on the road, usually I'm in one of the business or one of the company business vehicles. So, but they're not that great. It depends on what they give me. Sometimes they give me cars that are not great, and sometimes they give me cars that are, So, anyway, sometimes they're rinky-dinks like a Honda Fit that's not really all that great for work anyway. I do know that my work has found another vehicle very similar to this one, and I'm not sure I'm happy about that, but I know they have a Chevy Impala. I don't think I'm gonna get that back. I think someone else has got it now. So anyway, I don't know. But they did purchase a couple new vehicles, and I think this particular vehicle is one of them. Anyway, I'm not going to blather on. Anyway, I don't want to talk about my work. My work is another video. The boat is another video. I am still trying to make my way back to the Outer Banks. I need to check and see what's going on, touch base with my landlord, see if the boat's done, see what's going on there. But anyway, I know that a few things came up with it. Anyway, just to wrap up, this has been an emotional day. It started out as an emotional, not a really good day. I've been planning on going to this church that's supposedly haunted. I've been wanting to do that for a few days now, and I haven't gotten to it. So hopefully I could do that today. Anyway, that's pretty much it. It's just been a bad day all the way around. Again, this was part 17 after the accident. Bad day, bad news, just bad news all the way around. Really, just bad news. You know, there is no good news. So I talked to my ex-husband, you know, and he's like, okay, oh God, what's the bad news? Obviously, you know, he knows, you know, if I'm going to call him and talk to him that it's bad news. Anyway, I'm sure, you know, he really was fond of that truck, and I know he thought that he was going to get the truck and it was going to be fixed and he was going to drive it. Obviously, that's not going to happen now. But anyway, I'm sure he went home, you know, to drink. That's pretty much what he does. Every time he gets bad news, he goes home and he drinks. He was clean. He was on a dry spell for a while, but I'm sure he went home to drink. So anyway, I'm going to wrap up for now. Part 17, bad news, bad day after the accident. Just still dealing with stuff from the accident. And as I've said in earlier videos, I didn't put these videos out to discourage. I just put them out so that to make everyone aware there is a lot that can happen and a lot can go on after the accident. Anyway, I'm going to wrap up for now. I haven't started my day yet. I've been starting my day really late lately. Again, I'm at a truck stop in South Carolina, and I'm going to go inside, start my day, brush my teeth, just start my day. Anyway, hope everyone has a good day, good night.